On the morning of September 5, 2019, a man named Walter Ed Kersey was spotted walking along Orient Road in Tampa, Florida. It was his 48th birthday. At 7:47 a.m., a camera captured him in that area, and then, almost like a light switch turning off, he was gone. No more sightings, no more contact with his family, nothing. The most baffling detail? He was not officially reported missing until more than 2 years later, on September 15, 2021. By then, much of the evidence that might have explained what happened had evaporated. To understand the mystery of Walter's disappearance, we need to understand who he was and what his life looked like leading up to that September morning. Born on September 5, 1971, Walter was a slight man, between 5'2" and 5'6", weighing around 130 to 150 pounds, with hazel eyes and gray hair. His family describes their last contact with him as taking place in May of 2019, just a few months before he vanished. At that point, his life was complicated, and his past was marked by run-ins with the law that would shape how investigators and the public later interpreted his case. Back in 2013, when Walter was 42, he became the subject of headlines in Lake County, Florida. Deputies attempted to stop a stolen vehicle in Minneola's Oak Valley subdivision. Behind the wheel was Walter. Instead of pulling over, he led officers on a high-speed chase that ended in a cul-de-sac. Cornered, Walter rammed his car head-on into a deputy's cruiser. When officers arrested him, they found gasoline bottles, a siphon, drug paraphernalia, and marijuana in the vehicle. His license was already suspended due to a prior DUI, and investigators concluded that he had been siphoning gas to keep the stolen vehicle running. The incident showed a man already entangled in desperate behavior, risky, criminal, and self-destructive. 5 years later, however, what happened to Walter cannot be explained by simple legal trouble. His final known location, Orient Road, is an important clue in itself. That corridor in Tampa is not a quiet residential street. It's an artery lined with warehouses, industrial businesses, and major landmarks. The Orient Road Jail, run by the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, is located there. So is the sprawling Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. Interstate 4 and U.S. Highway 301 both intersect nearby, making it an easy place to slip away onto the highway. To the east, the Tampa Bypass Canal winds through the area, feeding into larger bodies of water. In other words, this was not a secluded place, but a zone of high activity and multiple opportunities, both for someone to be seen and for someone to vanish. The detail that Walter was last seen at 7:47 in the morning matters. Sunrise in Tampa that day came around 7:10, so it was broad daylight. Traffic was heavy with commuters, trucks, and employees heading into the industrial parks and the casino complex. Security cameras were everywhere: the jail, the casino, traffic intersections, and countless small businesses along the road. And yet, beyond that one confirmed sighting, there is no record of Walter's movements. No bus surveillance showing him boarding, no casino footage of him entering, no jail encounter logged, nothing. Why then did it take 2 years for him to be reported missing? This is one of the most striking features of the case. Adults in the United States have the legal right to disappear if they choose. Families sometimes assume their loved ones are laying low, staying with friends, in rehab, or perhaps incarcerated. For someone with Walter's history, the idea that he might have slipped out of contact voluntarily may have seemed plausible at first. But every month that passed without a phone call, without a letter, without his name surfacing in a new arrest, was time lost. By September 2021, when the missing persons report was finally filed, the leads that police usually rely on in those crucial first 48 hours were long gone. Security footage had long since been overwritten, witnesses had dispersed, and transactional breadcrumbs like receipts or surveillance captures were beyond reach. This leaves us with hypotheses rather than answers. One possibility is voluntary absence, that Walter, weighed down by his past, decided to cut ties entirely. The problem with this theory is that long-term disappearances without any trace are rare. People living off the grid still tend to surface through arrests, medical records, or casual encounters. The fact that 4 years later no such records exist argues against this explanation. Another possibility is opportunistic crime. Orient Road is a place where people exchange cash, where rides are offered, and where disputes can happen quickly. If Walter fell into the wrong situation that morning, an altercation could have escalated fatally. With highways so close, someone could have whisked him away from the scene in minutes. A third scenario is accidental or medical. Walter was a middle-aged man. A collapse from a health event, or an accident near the canal or in one of the less trafficked industrial lots, could have led to a tragedy that went unseen in the bustle of morning traffic. The waterways in that area are not easy to search. The Tampa Bypass Canal, in particular, is engineered with strong currents and control gates. Recovery from such waters can take months or even years, if it happens at all. Finally, there is the question of misidentification or incarceration under another name. Investigators typically check jails, prisons, and hospitals for aliases or clerical errors. The fact that his Namus case remains active suggests that no such match has been found. Each theory has its flaws, but opportunistic crime and accident align most closely with the geography and circumstances of Walter's last known moment. Voluntary disappearance remains technically possible, but the sheer silence since 2019 weighs against it. What the 2-year reporting delay almost certainly cost was the chance to know. If his disappearance had been flagged immediately, deputies could have pulled traffic cam footage, casino surveillance, or transit bus video. Witnesses might have remembered him. Instead, by 2021, those sources were gone. What's left now is long retention archives from large properties, human memory, and hope that someone recalls something unusual on that specific date, his birthday, that could anchor their recollection. Walter Ed Kersey's story is the intersection of a troubled past and an unresolved present. He was last seen in daylight, in a busy part of Tampa, on his 48th birthday. What happened after that remains unknown. For his family, and for investigators, the question is not just where he went, but why no one noticed until it was already too late to follow the trail.